Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am taking you to London in the UK so we can explore two different bookstores and I'll show you my book haul as well. Just want to talk a little bit about the trip itself. So when I got to London, of course, I was completely jet lagged, but I did enjoy noticing the architecture. It's so different over there. And what's interesting is there was even one building close to Victoria Station where as I looked up at the building, it almost felt like I was inside of a Dickens novel. And I had just finished A Tale of Two Cities, so it was quite timely. Anyway, so the first bookstore that I went to is called Foyles. And I had seen it on Bookstagram quite a bit, and I was excited to go to that one. So as you approach Foyles, you'll see a big red flag right above the building. And when you walk in, there's this iconic sign that says, "Welcome, book lover, you are among friends." And it's really heartwarming to see that. Now, what's interesting about Foyles is they do have display tables when you walk in. And I'm used to seeing a lot of display tables with a lot of the brand new releases and a lot of books that I'm not that interested in, quite frankly. But what was different about Foyles was I actually spotted a few books that are some of my favorites. Like, for example, Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro, or Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. And there it was. Several of my favorites were on display, so that was pretty nice. Now, Foyles has several floors, so after the ground floor, I walked up to the first level up, and that's where you'll find the classics as well as the fiction section. The classics section is beautiful. They have display tables to look at, and they also have an entire wall of the cloth-bound classics, and then you have other types of editions of classics. So for a classic book lover like me, it was really special. Now, I'll show you at the end which classics I selected. So then I walked over to the fiction section, which I believe, of course, I haven't seen every single bookstore in the world, but of the bookstores that I've explored so far, this was the best, most extensive fiction section I have ever seen. The way it's labeled is very clear. So if you've ever been in a fiction section and you're like, wait a minute, this is R and then S, I'm looking for B. No, but they have it so it says fiction A or fiction B. So it's really easy, very user-friendly. When I was in the fiction section, I was specifically looking for Daphne du Maurier, and I was very pleased to find an entire shelf of Daphne du Maurier books. So I was satisfied with that. So I was pretty happy with the fiction section. And then after that, I kept exploring different sections. This is a very comprehensive bookstore, so it'll have about 2 or 3 more floors, and everything is labeled by category like history, art, etc. They even have a section of foreign language books. And then on the very top floor, which is the 5th floor, they have a cafe. And what I liked about that part is if you look up, there's a skylight and the sun is shining through, but it looked like a nice place to hang out. One of the things I like about this bookstore is if you're on one of the upper levels, you could look down and see the cute lamps shining over the tables on the main floor, and there's sort of an aesthetic to that. As I was coming back downstairs, they have a section that's like a display table for souvenirs and Paddington trinkets, which is one of my favorites. And then they have a whole wall of planners and journals. So I really like that as well. So in terms of my book haul from Foyles, here we go. So the first book that I got, which I had the luxury to be able to pick which edition I wanted. This is The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. And I had a choice between the cloth-bound or this one, which is called Penguin English Library. But I have to say the cloth-bound looked like it was gonna fade, which is one of the issues they've had with that edition. And this one, something about the trees really got me, and I like the spine with the orange touch. So I ended up getting this one. And this was from the classics section. Then also from the classics section, I got this book, In a Glass Darkly, which I know nothing about, but I did read one other book by this author, and I like the mixture of Victorian atmosphere with the Gothic mystery aspect. So I'm looking forward to this one. Now, remember I said I was looking for Daphne du Maurier, and I sure got Jamaica in, because I read the blurb and it seemed interesting to me. So hopefully I'll like that. I think I like the spine more than the actual shiny red front, but I'm looking forward to this because I haven't read Daphne du Maurier in a while. Then the other one I got, which if you watched my video, I believe it was about the books I read in September, like my fall reads. I had mentioned Elizabeth Taylor, and also in the other video, my top 10 favorite reads of 2024, I also mentioned her. So I was looking for my next read by her, and I was looking for Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont, and I found it. So there you have it. This is my book haul from Foyles. I'm completely satisfied with my purchases. I did not intend to buy 4 at first, but here we are. So then after I went to Foyles, I ended up going to a second bookstore in London, which is called Daunt Books. Daunt Books has a beautiful entrance, and their layout is quite different from Foyles. So the way they do it is they do have a dedicated fiction section, but it's only got about 3 panels. And then they have a classics hardcover section. And then the other special touch they have is an entire wall of the mini cloth bounds, which I thought was so cute. I think that's a great idea because sometimes you don't want a thick book, you're looking for something small, either because it's going to be a gift or because you're traveling. And so having this dedicated shelf of the mini cloth bounds, I thought was a great idea. Then what Daunt Books does is that they have everything by country. So you have, for example, Germany, Austria, etc. It looks like they have Europe on the main floor, and then if you want America, Asia, Africa, you have to go down the steps to the lower level. So the top shelf is guidebooks if you're planning to travel to that country, and then the other shelves are basically just novels that were written in that country or by an author from that country. So when I was looking for Natalia Ginzburg books, they actually sent me to the Italy section, and they had an entire table of Natalia Ginzburg books, which really got my heart. That was really beautiful. The other thing that they have is a smaller section with just stationery and gifts and gift wrap. And I actually did get some gift wrap from there because it was so cute. And then they have quite an extensive children's books section, and I thought that section was really well done. So overall, I really liked that bookstore, Daunt Books. Now I'm going to show you what I got from there so you can see that I went a little crazy. So first, remember I was telling you about the mini cloth bounds? So I got Letters to a Young Poet, and I got The Imitation of the Rose by Clarice Lispector. Now, I haven't read anything by these authors before, so this is going to be quite the adventure. But I just, if you notice, I like pink. So then from the Natalia Ginsburg table, I got Family and Borghese and The Dry Heart. I love these editions. The entire table was this type of edition and I really liked it. So looking forward to these. And then I got this one. I don't know this author, but I believe he's an Irish author and he was longlisted for the Booker Prize in 2013. So I'm looking forward to this one. I really like the cover, something aesthetic about it. And then I got little things from the stationery pile. So I got these note cards and I got this little note card message. So I'm not sure what I'm going to use this for, but I just like the designs. So this is everything I got from Daunt's Books. So when I stepped out of the bookstore, what I noticed is the other side of the street had a shadow on the building that was cast because the two sides are fairly close. So one side of the street was casting a shadow on the other side, and I just thought that was beautiful. And then the other thing that I noticed is there's a flower shop across the street from Daunt Books, and they have my favorite flowers, which is the pink ranunculus. I couldn't believe it. It was so pretty, and they even had all different varieties of tulips, and they had daisies. It was beautiful. The place is called Bailey and Sage, so I'll leave that link in the description as well. As I was driving back, you could see that some of the trees were barely starting to bloom because it was early April and spring was definitely in the air. I was extremely fortunate that it was sunny the week I was there, and I'm really grateful for that. So let me know in the comments, have you ever been to London? Are you planning to go? Do these bookstores look interesting to you? I also have some other travel vlogs. So far I have one from Chicago and one from Los Angeles, and I'm working on another one from New York City. So check them out, okay? They'll be in my playlist. Till next time, happy reading!